Hi, I'm Brandon Reyes with T.R.U Archery, and I'm going to introduce to you guys the new Abyss Extension Flex. So we just released this product, and I'm going to go through the product with you to show you how it works and to give you some insight on where the release came from and what we were looking to accomplish in the design of this product. So as you can see here, this is the Abyss Extension. So this is the first release of its kind. It is based off of the Jesse Broadwater Signature Series Abyss and Fulcrum Flex. So it's the same geometry, same draw length, all that good stuff is going to be the same within this to an extent. We've changed a few things, and I will go through those in detail with you as we move throughout the course of this video. So the Abyss Extension is, as I mentioned, the first of its kind as a release that can be shot as a thumb activated, and that is the way it is sitting right now out of the package, or it can be used as a pressure release. So it can be set to a certain amount of holding weight pressure that once that pressure or weight is exceeded, the release will fire. So it's something that it's the first release that we've come out with from T.R.U with the pressure style system that we found is the most accurate that you can get as long as you shoot and as long as you anchor and you have the same amount of pull through pressure shot after shot. So, as you can see, as I have mentioned, the first thing is that the Abyss is the same geometry as the Abyss Extension. So the draw length is going to be the same from release to release. The bail will look a little different. This has our new TriStar hook bail, so it is always set. There's no cocking lever, to shoot it as a thumb activated or anything. So this bail, once it fires, it automatically sets into the next hook and so on and so forth, so it's always ready to shoot. As I mentioned, it's set up out of the package as a thumb activated release. So I'll show you and demonstrate how that works. You can kind of see that it looks a little different, and I'll explain to you the different features of this release and why it looks the way it does as we go on and get into the pressure activation mode. So as I grab this out of the box and I'm going to shoot it as a thumb activated mode, you simply just hook the bail up to your D-loop just like any other release, and then we're going to reach up and touch the trigger. So the trigger is the adjustable piece you see here, the gray portion, that is the trigger. So that's going to activate the release. So as I draw back and get my anchor point, and then I pull my thumb around to touch that trigger, and then start squeezing, that will activate the shot in the thumb activation mode. So just like the Abyss in our high-end trigger releases, there is a sensitivity and travel adjustment. So you'll need a 50 thousandths Allen wrench and a 5/64 Allen wrench to make any adjustment to those settings. The positions are same, but they're a little more difficult to find. So I'm going to point those out to you. The sensitivity screw is right here on the top, and if you have an Abyss or Abyss Flex, you'll see that that is in the same position. With that, you're going to have to run your wrench through the top here of this lever that we'll talk about in the pressure mode to reach the sensitivity screw. And then you can make your adjustments clockwise or counterclockwise. Clockwise is going to make it a little harder. Counterclockwise will make it easier. So that is the sensitivity. Now the travel is going to be on top, and we've engraved on this, this lever as well, the location of it, because it's kind of hidden. So you're going to go down through the safe lever here, and you're going to reach the travel adjustment screw, and then you'll be able to set the travel just like any of our other models. If you set the travel too close to the edge, the release will not fire. You'll have to back it off at least 1/8 of a turn. I would suggest 1/4 of a turn. So those are the adjustments to make it a thumb activated release. More adjustments can be found in the pressure mode, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. So in the Abyss and the Fulcrum Flex, we had the LAS system, so the lever alignment system. So basically what we were doing is we were moving the head in different positions around the index finger to create more clearance on your face with the bowstring, or more clearance on your face with vanes on your arrows. This movement around the outer perimeter of the hole for the release allowed that clearance. So with that, you can see the head here is in a fixed position. So we wanted to be able to still give the archer the ability to come up with a clearance, to fix any clearance issues by moving the finger piece. So what we can do here is you'll loosen the top finger piece, and in most of our flex technology, you're moving just the fingers, and it doesn't have any bearing on the actual trigger, but this Abyss Extension Flex does. So when I move this, it's going to cock the release in different positions, thus pretty much giving us the same effect as the LAS system did in the previous model. So you can select your position along that plane and then lock it down when you get your desired setting. And in addition to that, you can also come down here and move the flex fingers as well for someone that wants a lot of adjustability. We have that here. So there I'm adjusting the third finger. And if I had this as a four finger release, the pieces will come in the package, and you can adjust the actual pinky portion as well. So there's 3 different positions you can adjust the Abyss extension for finger placement. So now I'm going to set it up in the pressure mode. I must mention on the bottom here, you're going to find your adjustment screw. So if this adjustment screw is flush with the bottom portion of the body here, that is going to signify that this release pretty much is in the thumb activation mode. So as you loosen the lock screw on the side here and then start adjusting the screw on the bottom, you have a range from basically 0 to approximately 35 pounds of pressure. So I don't know many people that shoot 35 pounds of holding weight that's going to have to go beyond that to make this release activate. So with that, pretty much if you're down to around the 0 mode, you're going to be in the thumb activation mode. But once you start screwing this in, you'll see a little slot here with a red indicator. That will allow you to locate your release and the amount of pressure. Should you want to take it from a pressure mode to a thumb activation mode, you can actually look and either mark it or count the lines that indicate where your setting is at. So we suggest that archers use a scale like I have here to determine the holding weight of their bow, and then use the same scale to set the release. So from the factory, we're suggesting that you do 4 pounds over your holding weight. So if you are shooting 16 pounds of holding weight, then you'll want to set the release at approximately 20 pounds. So when you draw the bow, the release doesn't fire on you. So first of all, I'm going to set that, and we're going to see what it says here. I'm going to turn my scale on, and then so now the way this release works is different than any other pressure release, and I should mention this from the get-go. But I've always been a person that believes in shooting with a relaxed hand, and so I wanted to see this release be designed to where you can draw the bow with a relaxed hand. Most of the competitors, you have to bear down and really grip a safety lever till you get to full draw and then let off to actually activate the release. So this one is the opposite. So I'm going to draw the bow back with a safe, relaxed hand, and then when I'm ready to shoot the release, I simply reach up, hit the same trigger, and keep pressure on that trigger that I used for the thumb activation mode, so the gray thumb lever. So now that I've got that pushed in, I'm going to pull until I reach the firing point or that 4 pounds over the holding weight. So now I want to see what that is so we can either adjust it more or less and show you exactly how to set it. So now I got my scale on, I'm going to 0 it, and then I'm going to draw it with very little pressure on it, pull the trigger, hold the trigger, and then start pulling the release aid in like your back tension sequence. And I can see that it's 15 pounds right now that's going to activate this release. So I would suggest, if somebody is shooting this particular release the way it is set up, they're probably going to be like me and have around 11 pounds of holding weight. The release is set at 15, so when you draw the bow back and hit your lever, if you're pulling hard into the wall, it won't fire. So that's a key tip is that any pressure release is going to be very finicky as far as the way you shoot it. So it's only it's actually, smarter than we are, and it shows a lot of, error within shot cycles and pressure, bow arm pressure, back wall pressure. If you're cheating on the wall of the bow, the release will tell you, because you're going to have to pull it a little bit more than normal. And vice versa, if you're pulling hard into the wall, when you start to squeeze the lever here to activate the pressure mode, once you get to a certain point in that squeezing of the trigger, the release is going to fire. So it's something to think of, when you're setting your release, to remember to try to execute the same shot after shot, and ultimately that's what we're all trying to do. But this style of release will tell on you if you're cheating on the let off or on the holding weight, you're creeping or whatever. So that's the Abyss Extension Flex. Those are all ways to set it in both modes. The next thing I'm going to show you is if you want to let down in the pressure mode. So we have to have a way to let down, and when we first were prototyping this release, I'll be the first to tell you that we didn't have an efficient way to let down the release safely. So that's when this safe lever comes into play. So this lever basically does nothing for this release unless you're wanting to let the bow down. So I'm going to show you in a simulation of how it is designed to work. This is only used in the pressure activation mode. So when I'm at full draw and I'm into my shot, and I pulled now onto my trigger, so I'm pulling and trying to reach that 15 pounds before it fires, and then I decide I want to let down. I want to be able to reset the release, so you simply just reach up there and push the safety lever, and then that, in most cases, you'll hear a click. That ensures that the release is safe, and then you can let down. So again, I'll show you only in the pressure mode. The safe lever on the top here is what needs to be depressed if you want to let down. If you're, a quarter of the way in the shot, halfway through the shot, 3/4 of the way through the shot, anytime during that sequence and you want to let down, you hit that button. So I'm drawing the bow, I'm pulling, go over my time limit that I feel comfortable in the shot. I want to let down, so I'm going to reach up there, and you can hear the release click. That means it's safe. Now I can let down. So that's a really cool feature within the release that allows us, again, all going back to initially drawing with a relaxed hand. That is how most of us are taught to shoot a handheld release, whether it's back tension or thumb. And now you have no tense fingers, once you get to full draw. So that's, it's part of the form that, is taught a lot in relaxing your release hand. So that is the Abyss Extension Flex. For more information about this release or any of our other products, check us out on the web at www.trueballarchery.com.